Good people, you're looking for a new gaming mouse and are probably overwhelmed with all the options and all the roundups that, while useful, can also introduce a little bit of those mixed feelings. So here are 5 mistakes you should avoid when buying your next gaming mouse. And despite what everyone says, RGB will give you extra 20% aim. It is worth it, okay? So for mistake number 1, don't get caught up with all the fancy marketing. The DPI war is now irrelevant. Just because Logitech can drive up to 25,000 DPI doesn't mean anything versus this incredible performer with a max DPI of 3200. I'm happy to see DPI marketing has been somewhat deprioritized for other specs like the weight, the switches, the cable, and the only 2 instances you'd want to use higher DPI is to reduce input lag by increasing your DPI and lowering in-game sensitivity to match your comfort level. But as Battle Nonsense proves here, this input lag reduction is on a log scale and diminishes beyond 3200 DPI. This brings up another spec that's hot to advertise, and that is polling rate above 1000 Hz. So Razer was the first on the scene with 8K Hz polling rate, granting them the status of fastest speed and lowest latency ever achieved, which, while true, is only a few millisecond difference compared to the same mouse running at 1000 Hz. Again, as proven by the incredible Battle Nonsense. Make sure to check out his channel for all types of gaming related content that is very technical and super interesting. Now, weight has also been a massive obsession. Everyone is trying to compete to deliver the lightest shell in existence to augment the speed of your reaction in battle, or to have the purest connection between you and the game, which I would agree with. While in reality, anything below 80 grams for a mouse feels relatively the same unless you reach for the 49 gram territory of the MM720 by Cooler Master that truly feels like you're holding air. And we're finally starting to have balance adjustments on lightweight mice, which is far more important than the weight itself. So my point is, all the new mice have top of the line specs, so it's good to filter out all the fancy marketing and focus on the shape and all the things that actually matter too. Which leads us into mistake number 2, and that's not realizing when shape-shifting mouse tips video gets shaped into a message from our sponsor. I can't believe I read that all in one take. Whew! The Tower 100 by Thermaltake now comes in new colors, this racing green and turquoise, to add some fun into your next build with a full black interior so the exterior can shine with these fun colors, and the unique on-display layout to showcase your hardware. Check out the new Tower 100 down below. Alright, so the real mistake number 2 is debating between wireless and wired for performance. And I think it's safe to say wireless mice in 2022 have no compromise versus wired mice in input lag and click latency as measured by Ali here. And in fact, the best performer was a wireless mouse, which is something that needs to be shown more often. While Battle Nonsense shows the same outcome with the DeathAdder V2 Pro, as long as you don't rely on Bluetooth for some accurate gameplay, but the 2.4 GHz signal is strong enough to compete with wired operation, so you can safely lose the cable. The main advantage with wired mice would be a slightly cheaper price, lower weight, no need to worry about recharging the battery, and no potential wireless interference from other peripherals. So speaking strictly about latency performance, wireless should be 100% considered, because right now they are the best, or at the best they have ever been. Good people, you just gotta trust the dongle. For mistake number 3, that's going into a mouse purchase hoping it will be comfortable or fit your grip style. And you can do a few things to double check the basics, like your hand size and mouse size ratio chart as developed by Zai from Rocket Jump Ninja. It's actually fairly accurate on what would be considered to be like your optimal mouse for your hand size and grip style, but of course is just a good reference point to get you into to trying to see what is available there for you. Of course, if you can try the mouse in your local shop, that's fantastic, but I feel part of the education on mouse shapes and grip styles comes through commitment. For example, the Teardrop MZ1 was a total write-off for my comfort level because I was coming off very different mice like the wide MM720 before MZ1. So I'm here to say that it's okay to retrain your wrist and finger memory over time, and now the MZ1 is one of my top performers for FPS gaming. I don't particularly like to use it in a non-gaming scenario, so that's also something. It's okay to have hybrids, like my M4 wireless from Xtrfy that is great for editing, it's great for gaming, or just have dedicated gaming mice that I pull out when it's time to headshot. For mistake number 4, that's getting sucked into the overwhelming amount of features as like these additional value adds that are necessary but maybe not, because more features is not always better. For example, I really found the gyroscope on the M65 Ultra to be super unique, letting you perform macros when tilting the mouse in either direction. But if you don't see yourself using this ever, and aside from like say playing with it in the beginning and then just disabling it like what happened with me, might as well save yourself the 10 bucks and get the M65 Elite instead if you're after this shape. I also remember being really attracted to the MMO style mouse with the 1000 buttons on the side, thinking I can save myself a few keyboard shortcuts and just program them onto the mouse. In the end, I went with something a lot more comfortable because I never use the side buttons, and the MMO/RPG bodies are generally much larger. And it's also funny how angry we get when features are taken away, like not having a DPI button on the G Pro X Superlight because competitive gamers don't change DPI on the fly. But I also realize it's kind of a double-edged sword type of omission. ASUS is notorious on loading features like the analog stick on the side of the mouse, which is a really cool feature and it's functionally well designed, but is uncomfortable to use because of how far forward it is and has very specific use case scenario that you almost need to retrain or train for. Although I wish more mice offered the hot swap switches that you can customize and extend the lifespan of a mouse, for example, after your Logitech starts to double click. We all know it's true. And the only features I think are worth it have to do with shape adjustment to truly offer compatibility for a wide range of hand sizes and grips. And I'm not saying we should have mice with 0 features, but be mindful on what you can imagine yourself using after the exciting playful period is over. So if it's something you can see yourself using for 6 months and forward, then perhaps that feature is right for you. Now, driver software is another point of conflict, especially Razer Synapse and Corsair iQ. Those two get a lot of heat. So aside from RGB selection and DPI customization, I would argue plug and play approach is more convenient when done right. So software might be really heavy on your system resources. It might not load your mouse profiles until the software is actually running in the background. I've encountered plenty of issues with Synapse not playing nice with HyperX and Genuity's driver software, or Logitech G Hub just simply failing to start. So it's a nice fail-safe to save all your mouse settings onto the mouse memory, if applicable. And so that's where on-mouse customization is so appreciated without the need to load anything else on your PC. And I wish more brands took the Xtrfy approach here with the plug and play, with button combos to change your RGB, lift-off distance, and presets for your DPI. You don't have to sign in anywhere or figure out how to save the settings onto the mouse memory. And the only real negative is the lack of precise DPI adjustment. Like with Corsair, for example, the DPI slider can be moved in 1 DPI increments. It's also a good example of features for the sake of features, or is it a proper value add? Let me know in the comments. So the last time you bought a mouse, what were your deciding factors, and would you change your decision today? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Dmitry, and as always, aim responsibly, my friends.